So let's talk about this message. So I'm on Instagram and looking at my message, and I got this message from this gal. I'm not going to even say her name because she did do a 6-month apprenticeship, and I don't want to give, I was going to just give her first name, but that makes me a little uncomfortable. I certainly don't have permission to talk about her, but I'm going to talk about her, but we're just not going to reveal who she is. But she listens to this podcast, so she's going to know it's her. And I hope she's okay with me kind of using her situation and experience with me as a basis today, to talk about some things, because I think it can help some other people. But anyway, so there is somebody, Olivia, that listens to our podcast. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. We don't get a lot of engagement like on our YouTube page. And every week we ask, please, go to our YouTube page, our Tatter-a-fact YouTube page, and like it, us, follow us, comment. Some people do. But sometimes you're like, man, has anybody ever listened? And we know people are listening because we've got 7,000 downloads. So we know people are listening. And I do get messages, multiple messages weekly about that particular podcast that launched that week. So, and we're grateful to everybody that's listening. But it's these kind of messages, these really personal messages that come in that really touch me. And we even talked about that. I even came in and talked about this with Willow and Olivia yesterday, is this is what makes it worthwhile. Sometimes you wonder, is it worthwhile? Everything that goes into a podcast, it's time consuming. There's a lot of equipment. You guys spend a lot of time, I do. And is it, and even though it's a blast and we love it, is it worth all the time that goes into it? And that's crossed my mind, here and there. And it's when we get a message like this that it just solidifies it for me. That yes, besides it being a blast and it takes us away from mundane computer work and everyday work we do here at Girlz Inc., it's reaching people and it's helping people. And so, so it's worth it. But she listens to the podcast and it really helps her. She even said that sometimes she listens to our podcasts, 2 or 3 times. She'll replay them 2 or 3 times. And girl, I'm just telling you, on the two back-to-back ones that we have coming out on pigments, where we talk about modifiers, the EU, reach, carbon load, CI number, those, you're probably going to have to replay them 4 or 5 times because there's a lot of information in those couple of podcasts that are coming. Or they've already have launched by the time this one launches. So, but anyway, she's pretty much a newbie. She's been doing PMU 18 months. So 18 months in, that's enough time to know whether you love the PMU or not, whether this is what you want to do for the rest of your life or not. So there's some things at 18 months you definitely know, you have figured out, but you're still a newbie for sure. And finding your way through technique and great healed results and, how to talk to clients, manage your books, attract clients, fill your books. There's a lot at 18 months that you still don't know, you're super insecure about, and you're trying to figure out. And that's all normal. It's all normal. I went through all that stuff as well. And so how she got into PMU and started her career was with a 6-month apprenticeship. And we do 6-month apprenticeships. Well, we don't do 6-month apprenticeships here at the Girlz Inc. That's how long you have to apprentice in Vegas in order to become licensed. But I do my apprenticeships a little bit different. I'm not a studio where you come in and do 6 months, I charge you, and then you leave. Then you have to go find a place to work. I'm not really interested in that. And I would not enjoy that at all. What we do is, and we're going through this right now. We just hired a brand new artist an hour ago. We're bringing on a new artist, but we put ads out and we find, when we interview them and we narrow it down, and so we have a new artist starting, and then she's apprenticing, but we put them in a contract, so they're here for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I don't want to teach them, then they have to go find another place to work. We're teaching them everything that we know, so we can build a team of good artists here. So our apprenticeship is a little bit different. We're keeping the apprentices here, and they transition from apprentice, practice, training, not making any client money, into now you're trained enough to now where you can start seeing clients and make money here at Girlz Inc. And hopefully everything works out and they stay for years and years and years and years. And so she did a 6-month apprenticeship, and it $8,000 it cost her. So $8,000 to do a 6-month apprenticeship. And she just like so many people, right, in PMU, myself included, didn't feel that she got the training needed to set her up for success as best as possible, right? Because even with a really great 6-month apprenticeship and great training, when you leave and you go off on your own at 6 months, even with the best of training, I mean, you're going to be riding the struggle bus, right? But at least you have good skills, you have some knowledge, you have some theory. You're way ahead of the person that got bad training, way ahead. Because that person that got bad training, they feel insecure, and it probably affects them mentally, emotionally. They feel they wasted their money, maybe they got taken advantage of, whatnot. So there's a whole other set of issues when you feel you did not get good training. So she spent $8,000, and that was her life's savings, right? That was her nest egg. And she's a mom. She's got children. So that was a lot of money for her. That's a lot of money for anybody to dish out for training, and probably had some expectations, and they were not met. And so anyway, she's listing all this stuff, right? She's telling me all of this in a message, and I'm reading it. I mean, and I showed you her message. I mean, no offense, but I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, right? I was like, oh no, Olivia, she wrote me like this big long message. Look, and I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And it went on and on and on. And it was just this big message, and I could feel her pain, right? I could feel her pain. I could feel her worry in that message. But what bothered me most, it bothers me she got bad training. It bothered me, I mean, there was a lot of things about that hit me and made me feel really bad for her. But what struck me the most is a couple of things. First is she professed like her undying love for PMU. She fell in love with it. No question there. She knew 100% this is what she wanted to do with the rest of her life. She felt she had some raw talent and some raw skill and was decent. Well, I went on her Instagram page and I was looking at her brows, and they were really, really pretty. I was impressed. And I scrolled through her Instagram and looking at her brow work that she's currently putting out there. And it was good. It was solid. I'm like, this girl's got talent. She's doing a really great shape. She's doing a really pretty eyebrow, and she loves it. She just went on about how deeply she loves it, and how it makes her feel, and she knows this is what she wants to do. She knows this is what she wants to do with the rest of her life. So, but then her next sentence is she's going to put PMU on hold. She's going to put it on hold. She's going to walk away from it, and she's going to go learn lash extensions. So she's going to, because that's a little bit more affordable of a service, right? PMU can be very expensive. And that might be one reason too why it can be harder to build a PMU clientele. And plus the client out there, I mean, you have to be really, really, really good. I mean, we're tattooing faces. So, and every city across, America right now is inundated with PMU artists, right? There's just so many licensed PMU artists right now out there in every single city vying for the same client. So it's tough out there right now trying to build your books and get a clientele. It's really, really tough. It's tough for everybody, especially if you're a newbie. So she's, maybe in her mind, she thinks, well, if I go learn if I put PMU on hold and I go learn lash extensions, that will be some money. I'll earn some money with that, and that will get me through, and then I can pick up PMU, later down the road and go back to PMU. And that really bothered me. And I didn't answer her that day because what I wanted to say to her, I didn't really know if I should say to her. And I don't think I answered her the next day either. I think I thought about her for a couple of days. And then I answered her. I actually left her a voicemail, which you can do on Instagram. And I think it shocked her that I actually responded, and I left her several voicemails, Instagram voicemails. And she reminded me of me because, of course, I was on the struggle bus for a long time trying to build my clientele and, level up and acquire good skills and practice and whatnot. And I went and learned lash extensions, putting on those lashes, for the same reason. I was just going 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes a month, without a PMU client, and it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to go that long without income, especially if you're a mom, right? Especially if you're a single mom. So really, really difficult. Well, I did that. I was struggling. I didn't have children, but I was struggling, and I thought lash extensions. It's you pay some money to learn it, and I thought I'd probably be really good at it, and I can start booking some lash clients and make some additional income there. And I didn't put PMU on hold. I stayed with my PMU, but I did the lash thing, and I ended up hating it. And so I think I paid like $1,000 back then to take this course and get certified. And I ended up hating it. I just absolutely hated it. It was, for me, it was just a little too monotonous, and it just wasn't what I want to do. It wasn't PMU, and I didn't go learn it and get certified in it for the right reasons, because it's what I wanted to do, and I thought I would enjoy it and have a passion for it. I thought I'd be good at it because I've got good precision, and I really just learned it because I thought it was a way I could create additional income rather quickly and help sustain me while I built up my PMU client. And so and here I get a message from this girl, kind of like mirroring my story a little bit in the beginning. And so I left a voice message, and I told her that, I got on your Instagram and I looked at your work, and your eyebrows are pretty. You're doing really good work, especially 18 months in. Her work was good. Her shape was good. Her symmetry was good. And I said, but what bothers me is that you're going to put PMU on hold to go learn lash extensions. And I've been really like stewing in that for the last couple of days. And I'm going to encourage you not to. I'm going to, I don't know you, but let's say I did. Let's say you were a really good friend of mine and you came to me with this. I would say, no, no, don't. You're talented. You love it. This is what you want to do the rest of your life. And you know how hard that is to find something you want to do for the rest of your life because you love it and enjoy it that much. You can actually imagine doing it for the rest of your life. You can be happy showing up for it every day for the rest of your life. That is hard to do. And I know you got a little story about that, Olivia, that we'll talk about in a little bit. And she found this with PMU, and she's going to put it on hold because she's struggling, and go in a completely different direction and learn lash enhancements that she don't even know if she'll even like, or if she can even create the income maybe she's hoping to. So, my advice was do not put PMU on hold. I think that's a big mistake because I think you're going to lose momentum. You're going to lose momentum. And I'm not discouraging you from learning lash extensions because maybe you will like that. Maybe you will like it. Just because I didn't like it and I didn't want to keep up with it doesn't mean you won't. You might take to it and you might like it enough to keep doing it, or you might like it a whole lot, but you love PMU. So I'm not advising you not to go learn lash extensions and include that in your menu. What I am advising you to at least think about is putting PMU on hold, because I would hate to see her lose that momentum and just be out of PMU. Because I think you're going to lose momentum, and I think it might be harder to get back into it. Maybe she gets, stuck in something else, and it's harder to get back to what you love if you completely leave it. That's the advice I gave her, and I advised her, look, if money's tight, why can't you, why don't you approach. She was in a salon and working in a room and whatnot, but there was a couple rooms in there and another PMU artist in there. So why can't you approach, the salon owner, approach the other PMU artist, see if you can share a room and get your rent reduced, by sharing a room, negotiate, your commission if you're on commission. There's got to be a way to figure it out, right? Because when we want to do something bad enough, we find a way to do it, right?
Yep.
So that was my advice that I gave her, and I left it all in a voicemail because it was just too much to type. I mean, right? I can't type all that in an Instagram message. So I left her a voicemail, and then she responded with voicemails, and she didn't even know you could do Instagram voicemails. And so she learned something new. So she left me her first set of Instagram voicemails. And I learned that from Shay Daniels, about a year ago. I didn't know you could do voicemails on Instagram either, but it's quite handy. But anyway, so she left me some lengthy voicemails, and it meant a lot to her that I responded. But I do respond to people. I respond to a whole lot of people. Not that I don't want her to feel special, but I do respond to people, especially those kind of messages. I do read them, and I do respond with a voicemail. Look, I know I'm busy, and sometimes they feel bad, and the first thing they say is, I know you're busy, I know you do this and that, you probably don't have time, you probably won't even read this. It's usually how a lot of people start out their messages to me when they, DM me, but I do read them. And I do respond to most of them. I think it's unrealistic to think I can respond to all of them, but I do respond to a lot of them. And if all it takes is, it takes me, 3 or 4 minutes to read something, and it takes me another 3 or 4 minutes, to respond and leave a voicemail of support and encouragement and advice, that's 10 minutes out of your day. I mean, come on. Like, if I don't have 10 minutes, for another human, another person, then come on. I don't know. I think it's important. I think it's important to do that. I just really, really do. And so, she took my advice. So she did approach the salon owner, and she did approach the gal who was renting the other room, and they had a conversation, and the gal was like, yeah, I'm totally down to do that. And so, and she's not going to put PMU on hold. It made sense to her. She didn't really want to put it on hold. And so it was just great. It was great. And so I was really happy, and I felt that, I had made a difference in someone's, no matter how small, a small little difference in someone's life, at that particular moment. And it all stemmed from this podcast, what we do, and for the podcast. So the podcast is helping people. Yeah.
That feels really good.
It feels really, really good. Because I don't really think people understand, like, behind the scenes and all the work it takes to put these podcasts on. It is a lot of work, and it's time consuming, and so, yeah. So, now, when she's, 8-9 years in the industry, and she's super talented, and she's super busy, and she's got it all figured out, now she'll pay it forward. Right? She will, she'll get those kind of messages, and she'll return their calls with words of encouragement and words of support. So I think it's like a pay it forward kind of thing,